I'm making a bird suet. That's how I pronounce it. I don't know how others do, but it's bird cakes for the bird feeder. You can buy them in the little squares in the store. I personally think they're a little pricey, but I enjoy making my own. This recipe I have been using for at least 25 years. And I'm going to show y'all how simple it is. If you've never made bird cakes for your backyard birds, I encourage you to do so because they really enjoy it and it attracts a lot of beautiful birds. And it's so simple to make, so simple. I've already got my ingredients pre-measured so that I can do this a little speedy. In this pot, I've got 1 cup of peanut butter and 1 cup of regular white lard. Now, I buy the lard in containers from the grocery store, and it's just pure white lard. Now, if you have some clean lard that you have saved, you can use that. I didn't have any, so I bought some. So 1 cup of lard, 1 cup of peanut butter. I'm going to melt this on the stove. And once that's melted, I'm going to add 2 cups of quick oats, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 cup of flour. And I'm going to throw in some raisins. You can throw in raisins, nuts of any kind that's safe for the birds, but they should be unsalted. So all I have extra today is raisins. I was going to add some nuts, but my nuts, I had some sunflower seeds I was going to add, but they are salted, so I won't do that. So today it's just going to be lard, peanut butter, some raisins, some sugar, some oats, and some flour. Oh, and I'm going to add 1 cup of cornmeal. I've got it right here. I bought a pretty good sized bag of cornmeal from Sam's, and I brought it home and I opened it up and it's got meal bugs in it. And instead of taking it back or throwing it out, I put it in this, it's an ice cream container. I keep it sealed up, and I decided I'm going to keep that to make my chicken feed and bird feed. And by the way, this set of ingredients works great for the chickens as well, and I will give them one of the cakes also. I'm going to layer it in a cookie sheet that is lightly oiled with some Pam. I'm going to spread it out, and then I'm going to put it in the freezer, and I'm going to let it solidify, not quite frozen, but solidify enough so that I can cut it into squares. And then I'll wrap them up individually in some wax paper and keep them stored in the freezer. And then when I'm ready to hang one, I just take it out of the freezer, put it up. In a matter of minutes, it has thawed out, and then the birds will come. It's like they say, build it and they will come. Well, you make these bird cakes and the birds will come. I'm going to get this put on the stove, and I'll be right back. All right, I have the peanut butter and the lard melted, and I need to correct myself. 2 cups of peanut butter, not 1. So I added my extra cup of peanut butter. I'm going to add 1 cup of flour to this melted peanut butter and lard mixture. Okay, now I can add my oats. Now, if it is ever a little on the runny side, you can add more oats. And it looks like I'm going to have to. My 1 cup of sugar. And my raisins. And I will add more oats. Now this mixture can be made with whatever ingredients are safe for the birds, and you can make it as thick as you want. I want it pretty thick so that the cakes will stay together in the feeder. And you can add less sugar also. It's not going to hurt a thing. It's really probably not good to give sugar to the birds. But it's part of the recipe. I found this recipe way back during the AOL days. And that's what I had for online community. I'm going to add 1 cup of cornmeal. It looks like it's dissolved in there really good. I do wish I had had some nuts that wasn't salted. Now I'm going to just spread this out. I chose this pan because of the thickness, because I want these cakes to be about as thick as the little cage feeder that the cakes goes in. And I might have chosen too large of a pan, but I won't put it all the way down if that's the case. Might just put it on half the pan. And this stuff does not smell great. And the reason it doesn't smell great is because of that lard. But it doesn't have to smell good for us. I'm going to mash this down to a really good size thickness. It's not going to go the whole distance on the pan. I would normally do a couple of batches at one time, but I just wanted to get some quick cakes done. So I'm just going to do this one batch. That's ready to go in the freezer. And once it has solidified pretty good, then I'll be able to cut the cakes into the right size for the feeder and wrap them up and then freeze them. Okay, I'm going to put this in the freezer. While I'm waiting on that pan of mixture to solidify in the freezer, I'm going to go outside in the yard and work on cleaning my bird feeder up. Okay, I have cleaned my bird feeder. It's a platform feeder that my husband made. This thing is at least 25 years old. When I first started making those bird cakes, he built this for me. He got some PVC boards. It's like a composite, but it's PVC, and he built this. It is old, it's stained, but it's still holding together. And it goes on poles like this, and I fill this part with sunflower seeds. And then I usually have hooks on it. There's one where I hang the cakes. He's got this insert. This is a PVC fitting to accommodate slipping over the top of the pipe that I'm going to put in the ground. I took this down last year because we had some stumps ground over here in the area, so I had to take it down, and I just hadn't put it back up. It's going to take 3 pipes to do what I need to do. The first pipe is going to be a skinny one that I'm going to put in the ground, and then the second pipe is going to go over that pipe, and then the third pipe is going to go over that one. Several reasons. One, whatever I should use, I don't have. And 2, to make the pipe rigid so that it doesn't shake and wobble. One year, it might have been the first year, I just drove the first pipe in the ground, and it filled up with mud to a certain point to where it couldn't be driven down anymore, and it was too high. So I don't know what I should use, but all these years this is what I've been doing, and it keeps it rigid. and keeps it from wobbling. Now, one thing I will say, squirrels are terrible at getting on your feeders and consuming all of your bird seed. Now what I do, let me set this down. This is the final pipe, and it has seen better days, I'm gonna tell you. This is how it's gonna stand, and the platform is gonna go on top. All of the exposed pipe from the bottom of the platform feeder all the way to the ground, I slather it up really good with fresh lard. That makes it super slippery, and the squirrels, well, it'll give you some entertainment, I'm sure, because I enjoy watching them. They will jump from the ground, grab the pole, and they slide down. They cannot get a grip to get up the pole and get on the feeder. Now, that lard on the pole will last many months. It might be 4 months, it might be 6 months, and then I have to refresh the lard. And so I just keep that going, and it keeps the squirrels off of my feeder. Now, here in our area, southeast North Carolina, the squirrel that we have is the eastern gray squirrel. Years ago, I researched and learned that they can jump sideways from object to object about 10 feet. They can jump from the ground about 5 feet. This will end up being 5.5, maybe 6 feet in the air. And I'm going to put it near my oak tree, but I'm far enough away. I'm sorry about the traffic. I'm far enough away from the canopy that they can't jump down from a limb because it's too far and jump on top of it. So this will prevent the squirrels mostly. There's an occasional exception to this rule, and there will be a really acrobatic, I don't know what that was. There will be a really good acrobatic squirrel who will find its way on there, but the majority of them will not. And I'm close enough to the oak tree that if the birds are on the platform feeder and there's a predator overhead, they need a place to fly to real quick. So they're going to be close enough to the tree where they can get up in the canopy for their protection, far enough away from the tree that the squirrels can't leap off of a limb, and high enough off of the ground where they can't do a running jump. So now I'm ready to get this pole system put together. The bird cakes are still in the freezer, solidifying, getting hard. And my feeder, I'm going to try to spray paint it. I don't know if my can of paint feels very light. I don't know if I have enough, but this paint, it's been at least 10 years since I painted it. It was solid white, but you can see how it's weathered. That's years worth of weathering. So I will spray paint it. So anyways, if I have enough paint in this can, I am going to touch this up and make it look better. And I've got some white paint to paint the pole. I'm not sure the white paint is going to work. I'm not sure it's going to spray out. Y'all, this is a serious vent right here. These cans, do y'all have trouble getting these lids off? Let me tell you something. I took my lid off before ever rolling the camera because I didn't want y'all to see how stupid I look getting the lid off. It's an act of Congress. Okay, so I'm going to get started getting my poles put in the ground. And I'm going to set it right over here, just outside of this circle where we had a big stump ground up. So start with this little pole right here. Then I'm going to come over the top of that one. Then, it might be a little crooked. And then the final pole will go over that one. And then the feeder will sit, hopefully, on top of this. Okay, does that look straight? Now let me see if I've got enough paint to spray that. A little crooked. Okay, that was just enough to tidy it up. I don't want to put a ton of paint, and I'm not going to paint the inside. I always leave that white because the birds peck and eat from in there. So I don't want to put paint on the inside. So it's just the outside. I don't even put it on the top trim, the top of the thing there. Let me see if I can get some white paint out of this pen. Neither one work. I've got one more place to go look for paint. I was not able to find any white paint. I'd really like to paint this pole because it is rusted, and I don't know how much more use I'll get out of it, but I'll have to buy some white paint. I'll be back when the bird cakes have hardened enough that I can cut them and hang one out here and fill this up with seed. I'm gonna wait till this dries real good as well. The bird cakes are finally frozen. Actually, I let them freeze a little bit too long. It's best if they don't quite freeze solid because it's easier to cut them if they are not completely frozen. I just used my scraper cutter thing and cut them up. I eyeball the size. Hopefully it'll fit. I haven't tried yet into the bird feeder, but I'm gonna get these things wrapped up. I've already wrapped one. I'm using parchment freezer paper to wrap them in, and that's what they'll store in a Ziploc bag. But I'll take one out and put it in the bird feeder. So let me get these things wrapped up. I've got them all wrapped up now. These are going to go in the freezer, and this one I'll take outside to the bird feeder, and I'll wait and watch for them to come. Let's go outside. I've got this cute little tractor feeder. It's faded. It was a pretty green, but I'm not going to paint this because the birds do eat out of it. So I'm not going to paint that. That's just going to have to stay faded. I don't want to put any paint where the birds might get it. All right, here's my cake. Here's the feeder. I've got a bucket of sunflower seeds, and I'm going to fill the top of it. With this feeder, I get all types of songbirds. It's time for the goldfinches. They like the sunflower seed, but these cakes, the cardinals, the blue jays, the bluebirds, and all of the woodpeckers, trying to spread this out, all the woodpeckers love these cakes. That was super easy to make. It took maybe 15 minutes in the kitchen, about an hour in the freezer, and these things are ready to go. And it's better, I think, probably, for the birds to have something homemade. I don't know what's in those cakes you buy in the store. Maybe they're okay, I don't know. But I already had a big bucket of cornmeal that we couldn't use, that I couldn't cook with because it had the mealy bugs in it. The birds will love those. The lard, very, very cheap. What else did I put in? The raisins that I put in it, they were starting to get a little dried for my liking, so rather than throw them away, that went in there. A little bit of sugar, didn't cost me much. A little bit of flour, didn't cost me anything. Super, super cheap to make. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Now the thing I still have to do is I have to paint this pole. I really like to paint it to do something with that rust. And what else am I gonna do? I think that's it. I think that's all I've got to do, but I gotta buy some paint. So that's it for this video. I will see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye.